Greetings, beings. Jacob Martinez, Crystal Haiku Guy from artoflove.me. How you doing? I'm back with your June readings. So first and foremost, this channel is M for mature audiences only. If you're somebody that is not a mature audience, please do exit the video. Also, please exit it if you're somebody that gets offended with a man using potentially crude language. It just comes up as a mode of expression for me, and when I do the readings, I sometimes trance out, and that's just the way I communicate, is not to offend anybody. But it might be confrontational, and if you don't like that, I might not be your guy. So, M for mature audiences only. Please do take a look at your sun, moon, and rising to get the most complete picture, because things have a tendency of just wobbling depending on how we are composed. You know, time and space and gender and energies can be somewhat flexible. So I don't pay specific attention to gender in general readings like this because it's just too hard to nail down for people and can be very nebulous. I will speak to the energies that I feel have presented themselves to me, and they may have a more feminine or masculine polarity. I might say he, she, or they. I'm sorry if I don't get it right for you. Please just apply what suits you. Also, even though I'm going to try to break this down into archetype, physical, mental, romantic, things might crisscross into other aspects of your life. So just apply your own good intelligence and perhaps just file it in the brain, because this is a monthly reading to help forewarn you of what the weather forecast might be like over the course of June. But we'll also come back in the middle of June with a mid-monthly reading just to pick up where we left off and see how things might be changing. So there's that. I'm only doing these free general readings right now. If you have the means, I would highly recommend a personal reading. There's tons of great readers here on YouTube. And if you just wanted a recommendation, feel free to hit me up. My email is below. You can also use that email to hit me up if you have a prayer request, because I'm a guy who will pray for you. All right, so with that said, here's how the readings will go. First of all, there will be 4 videos, one for each of the elements of the zodiac. Within each video, there will be 3 timestamps, one for each of the signs that are associated with that element. So you can click ahead or back or however you like. But again, check your sun, moon, and rising. And I did readings with Caroline Miss's archetype cards to go over the archetypal energy, which is sort of like the baseline of the month. For the physical side of your life, things that happen in the material realm, Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. For the mental sector, John Holland's Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. And for the romantic, sometimes not romantic, but romantic sector, we've got Doreen Virtue's Romance Angels Oracle deck. And I like to wrap them up with a prayer led by Archangel Michael. He always has really good advice, and I think it's a good way to end it up. So that's what we have going on, and with that said, we'll go ahead and get started with your reading. Oh, please like, share, and subscribe. Hey there, Jacob Martinez, Crystal Haiku Guy, artoflove.me, getting ready to do Earth signs. We'll be going Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And I'm about to shuffle the decks. Feel free to jump ahead. I'm just going to be here shuffling. Well, I should also mention, I've already shuffled before this. I practice pretty high standards of energetic hygiene, and all these decks have already been shuffled and staged, and they've gotten the crystal treatment. But I'm shuffling again. Also, when I lay the cards down, they're all backs up right now. I just leave them like that until I actually turn over what sign I'm going to be reading. So I'm going to do them all at the same time. Per sign like that, just in case you're wondering. Like Virgo is actually going to get 2 cards for physical material. 2 cards wanted to go down. So. So while I was doing this shuffle for the mental sector, I used the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, and 3 cards just fell out. Solitude, Hope, and Sacral Chakra. These are all majors. Solitude is typically the Hermit and the Rider-Waite Smith deck. Hope is the Star in the Rider-Waite Smith deck, and 2 is the Sacral Chakra. It's the second chakra in the body. It's the creative, passionate sexual energy. And I think the 9, the Hermit, is that Virgo? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that usually stands for Virgo, and Hope, or the Star, is usually Aquarius, and Sacral Chakra, for me, a lot of times it's passion, sex, things like that. So this just flew out of the deck. I don't know who that might be for, but if that's you, it sounds pretty good. Okay, and Power card just tried to fly out here too. That's typically the Strength card, or Leo, also another major arcana. Got some messages flying out of here. not really sure who that's for, but maybe that'll stick out for somebody. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back to finish the shuffle. I'm back. I thought someone was at the door. Two more decks here that I'm shuffling. Right now it's the Romance Angels Oracle. I use these for the personal / romantic sector. It's not always romantic though. Last deck. Archangel Michael Oracle cards from During Virtue. Actually, maybe I'm just a klutz today. I don't know. Alright, that's a whole lot of cards there. I'm not going to read those right now. It's like too many messages. Usually if like one will shoot out or like maybe 3 or less, I don't know. It just depends on how it feels. Well, sometimes, I just have to look at them, but it's like a big stack of cards. Usually not. Unless it's like a specific reading for somebody, but not for a general. It's just too chaotic. Oh, sigh. These are prayer cards, too. These are great. I'm trying to think of the one facing me yet, because I get too excited. But, this is a great oracle deck. It's got usually actionable kind of advice from Archangel Michael and a prayer. That's how I like to finish off my readings. These are all energetic calibrations, of course, as well. Make sure you're drinking water. Okay. Alright, so I've already dealt, and I believe my guides told me we're going to go Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. So I'm going to start with you, Virgo. And flip over your cards. Happy June to you. Huh. Wow, Virgo. There's a lot of intense stuff going on here this month. Y'all been on something deep for a while, though, and I've been following the details with Virgo pretty closely. I know it's been a rough time, and I know specifically even for many of y'all, like the past 3 years have been really something else from what I gather. And I feel like Just looking here ahead at your month, there's a victory that's here for you, Virgo. And yeah, I'm feeling really good about your month. So, hang in there, everything. I know it's been intense. And good news, I think, coming through with your archetype card. I'm using the Carolina's archetype card deck, which I love. It's, I think, a very good demonstration of what the overall kind of challenge energy is for the month, and that it's sort of the subtext of what's going on. And these cards demonstrate a light and shadow attribute in a really effective way, and I love what the book has to say too. But we'll go ahead and start with your card. You got the Rescuer card, Virgo. Rescuer. Can you see that? Sorry about the glare there. I've got a light box and just shines light everywhere. So the light attributes on this card state: provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. And the shadow attributes state: assumes that the rescued will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. You can see that picture there, and yeah, it kind of looks like a heart he's presenting to someone here. So, and I said she, this could be he, they, whatever gender makes sense for the person this might represent. Could be you. Over the course of the month, there are other people that you encounter with this energy. And I'm actually going to dig up the card here in the book, read it to you, because there's some good buzzwords in here to keep in mind for the month. Rescuer provides strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. The shadow rescuer assumes that the rescued party will reciprocate and aims to keep the rescued one needy. So the advice that this card is giving, because that's actually exactly what it said on the card, and most of these are different, but I guess not on this one here. It does have a piece of advice, though. It says, observe whether you have always sought to help those in peril, whether for altruistic or selfish motives. Good thing to keep in mind there, Virgo. It's one of those things where I feel like, one of the calls to action, if you are going to face yourself in this kind of way in this month, is to make sure, too, as you're doing your self-analysis, that even if you have been acting more as like that shadow rescuer, maybe the one that wants to keep that person in the water that we don't even see, she could just toss that off and hold maybe the rope end because somebody else needs that end. And it almost looks like it's reversed here. You see, there's like, why is the rope in the water? Shouldn't that be in the water, and she should be holding on to that and help pull somebody up? Sometimes people give things not realizing the energy behind how they're giving it, and I think that's what you're being called to recognize this month. Maybe in your life it's such that people, influential people to you, perhaps ever since you were small, have programmed your computer, if you will, with certain attributes that would fall under that shadow sector. Maybe the way things were given to you when you were younger taught you how to give maybe less than what you think you're offering, or for perhaps less than altruistic reasons as a rescuer. So that's a lot to look at. And before I jump ahead too far, I will just say it might be wise to be kind with yourself as you're doing such a self-analysis this month and examining the hows to what you do when you are playing the rescuer role, or how you receive that when others are rescuing you. Whatever it is, I would just recommend here that you take it with the purpose of understanding yourself better versus, allowing yourself to feel any shame or guilt, okay, for something that maybe you might not have been aware of within yourself, okay, and perhaps also with others. This is an opportunity to learn how to distinguish these things. Kind of reminds me, definitely reminds me of a Benjamin Franklin quote. I might butcher it, but it was something to the effect of there being 3 infinitely hard things in life: diamond, steel, and to know thyself. And I believe that's what the Rescuer is challenging you to take a look at this month, Virgo. I'm going to go ahead and jump into your physical material world. I've been reading these with the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, and actually 2 cards wanted to present themselves for you, Virgo. And the first one is the 7 of Pentacles, which is a very earthy energy like you. That could actually be you standing there waiting for something to materialize that perhaps you have invested a lot of time and nurturing energy into, and you're just like watching it and wondering when you can take something off the vine for yourself. It looks like it's almost ready. You're starting to see some of this before your feet ready for you, but you're kind of like in wait of what else is to come here. I think that might be you. This could be someone in your life, or a kind of slow-moving, patience-requiring energy in your material world. Maybe you've been working for a promotion or a raise, or you've been planning something for a while and cultivating it, and you just kind of like, when's it coming? But this was clarified by the other card that kind of zipped out, and that's the Page of Wands. And, this can be, like I said, any gender. Any of these cards are characters. It could be a fire sign person in your life, or, if this is you, that this is embodying, this is you having a lot of this fiery energy that's usually demonstrated in the sun, moon, or rising of somebody that might be Leo, Sag, Aquarius, or Aquarius, Aries. And this is sort of an impatient, let's get started energy. And I'm just hearing, let's get this party started, like in my head. So I don't know what that's all about, but I think somebody's got ants in their pants and they're tired of fucking waiting and they want to get on with it. And this could be, it's feeling pretty exciting here. You've got a plan. It feels like Virgo's got a plan. Virgo's got a plan, man. And they want to go and do something. And I think it's something they've definitely been working on a long time. Because in the mental sector, using the John Hahn Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, she got really awesome major cards. It's probably one of my favorite cards if I had to pick in the entire deck. I usually love this one a lot. This 21 universe here is also known as the world in like this standard Rider-Waite style deck. And that's a major sway of energy. This is completion. So whatever shit y'all been working on, Virgo, or that has been working on you maybe for a long ass time. I keep getting 3. I'm feeling like 3 years for a lot of you. for something major. It's coming to completion here. That's what this indicator is, and it's hard to nail this stuff down into boxes a lot of times, you know, because it's how energy moves and how it shows up when we're in slow-moving form here. Stuff like this might not be exactly within 30 days, you know. This is something that's been going on a long time. But with the card showing up here, it's telling me is that, I mean, it's already imminent, and you need to know it, especially if you feel like you got some ants in your pants and you're tired of waiting for whatever that is to materialize, for you to perhaps feel rescued from whatever that bullshit is that might have had you feeling like you needed a rescue or whatever. That is almost over here. It might be over by the time you're checking this out here too. This is just a great indication here for your month of June. I'm going to go ahead and look here in the book, and I'm going to read to you what it says about the Universe card, which is, incidentally, if I didn't mention it already, is the last of the major arcana. And so it's like everything else, period, came before that. That's what I mean when I say completion. So all the steps have led you to here. This is where it ends, and also where the new cycle will begin. But here's what the book had to say. You've come far on your journey, and it's time to be rewarded for your efforts. This card symbolizes completion, triumph, peace, liberation, and fulfillment. Anything you strive for is within your reach. Meet it halfway and grab it. The Universe is the last of the major arcana cards and reflects the work that you've accomplished on your travels. But more importantly, it represents the wisdom you've gained along the way. You should now honor and acknowledge the truly wonderful soul that you are and accept the vital part that you play in the bigger scheme of life. The world is yours to command, and you're free to travel in whatever direction your heart desires. You're connected to everything in the cosmos. The Universe card is a reminder that the same energy making up the stars in the sky, the same energy that's coursing through the universe, is in each and every individual. In ancient times, many believed that each star was the soul of one person. They also believed that these souls shine so brightly to guide others through the darkness, and so too can your wise soul. That's also the card that they use on the book and the cover of the box for this freaking awesome deck of cards that I love. I think that says something there, right there, Virgo. But what's cool is it's like on your mind. You know this. You know what you've been through, and what you've worked for, and what you're worth, your value. And I believe your emphasis and values has changed in some kind of miraculous, life-altering way, where you are even having perhaps an existential crisis about what it means to be rescued from, like, the depths of whatever your own personal hell may have been that left you feeling. I'm going to go ahead and jump into your personal romantic sector. Which I use the Doreen Virtue's Romance Angels Oracle card deck. I love this deck. And again, it's not always romantic. Love isn't always sweet puppy dogs and nice shit. Sometimes it's razor blades and codependency. Things that make you feel like you're on the brink of something. And I think maybe that's what this personal hell that you're being emancipated from and eager to get a start from, because you had to work really hard on yourself to get out of some fucking bullshit that maybe you finally feeling like you might have rescued yourself from. You're seeing the light. But we are at least evaluating what it means to be codependent this month, Virgo. Addictions might be affecting your romantic life, according to this card. I'll say might. It says are. I'm going to say might, because I think you might have been working out of the way of this, and maybe that's what this fiery energy is. You've been working really hard for something, and maybe you're feeling fucking tempted to go do some shit that made you feel shitty before, and left you feeling like you needed a rescue. So just be gentle with yourself, Virgo. I think some of y'all are angels, personally. And I think that, I know that you've worked really hard to feel like you're at the end of some kind of major cycle. And I hear victory. I hear it's yours. And if you haven't gotten your hands on it yet, try to just relax. I think there's some advice here, because these two energies in your physical material world can be at odds. They're very much at odds. Pentacles are slow. They take their time. They plan shit out. Not everybody can be a successful gardener, and just looking at the obvious imagery in this card here. This cat is looking at what's slowly been growing out of the earth that required patience, cultivation, love, attention, sunshine, water. This takes time. This energy also in the physical material realm that insisted on coming out, because I was not intending to pull two cards for this. The Page of Wands energy. Well, when it's flipped upside down, usually I call it a boner card sometimes, because that's what it is. It's that kind of energy that's just erratic, and that might be a little graphic, but it's the same energy, upright. It's just maybe a little less reckless, but this has got some get up and go. Okay? There's a little juicy flavor on that, and the image may or may not evoke something to you, but this is not patient consideration energy. This is, I need to get the fuck up and go energy. I got something to do. I got literally ants or something in my pants. And these came up together. So somebody's feeling perhaps a little bit of a rift within. And, this might not be your natural tendency. It might be, depending on your energetic constitution, but as a Virgo, a lot of times you're showing up like this, the slow and steady. So feeling something like this on top of it might be a little maddening, especially if you're dealing with that codependency. So pay attention to this, guys. Pay attention, and if you're feeling that, I'm going to look for this card here for you out of the book and read it to you. I just feel like grounding yourself, going somewhere and grounding yourself. Garden if you got one. Get out in nature. Do something to express your energy physically that's going to give you some relief, perhaps, that's in line with all the shit you've been doing to get to the end of a cycle. That's how you're going to rescue yourself right now. Put yourself first in that regard, okay? Here's what the book said about codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. This card answers your question in perhaps a surprising way, because addictions are the culprit behind the issues you're attempting to resolve. This could be your own craving for a substance or unhealthful behavior, or it could be that of your partner's. That's a motorcycle. All right, I will repeat. This could be your own craving for a substance or unhealthful behavior, or it could be that your partner's addictions are impacting your love life. This card is also an indicator of childhood experiences in an addictive family. Addictions numb the heart to pain, but they also diminish its capacity to love. Since love is the basis of your romantic partnership, addictions become a barrier to moving forward toward true emotional intimacy. This is especially true if you are twisting yourself in knots to please a person whose dependency has lessened his or her capacity for happiness. That no-win situation will negatively affect your self-esteem and your own happiness if you continue. Fortunately, lots of support is available worldwide in the form of 12-step meetings and other addiction support fellowship models. Whether it is you or your romantic partner who has the addiction, you can find free groups near you through the internet or by contacting a local community health center. So, maybe it's not even like that serious anymore, but if it is, please get help, Virgo. If you need somebody to pray for you, you know, I'm somebody that does that, and I've actually been putting a calibration on the cards here, and I just hope that you will be very kind to yourself too, especially if you're just getting yourself out of a pattern like that, because, you know, I think that we all do the best that we can in the situations that we're in with the level of coping skills and resources that we have. You know, that's why they say hindsight's 20/20. I mean, shit, if you knew things or were equipped a certain way, yeah, you'd never make a mistake, right? You'd never have anything to grow through or to take you to a higher place that sometimes is just a greater destiny that was inside your soul that you never would have uncovered if you didn't realize how freaking badass you were from being a rescuer of yourself. So keep it in mind if you start going dark. And Archangel Michael wants you to know that you need to forgive yourself because you've done nothing wrong. So you're making good decisions to extricate yourself from a situation that might have been some bullshit, you know, just take it in stride a little bit. One thing that I like about this picture, and like, I don't know, I'm like really looking at this right now. This one here, that does not look like what I would expect codependency to look like. I mean, maybe she's fixated on something, but I'm seeing a woman that's sitting pretty here, you know? And I'm seeing somebody that has maybe worked really fucking hard to not be stuck in some bullshit. You know, she doesn't have anybody latched onto her here. I'm not really sure I always agree with, like, the art in these or the message, or sometimes they just speak to me differently, but I'm seeing somebody who's worked really freaking hard for what they have, and that probably does not always see themselves as kindly as they should because of how they've had to cultivate themselves to get to a point of completion with anything significant. And it's taken a lot of time. So just make sure you're being kind to yourself this month, Virgo. And, you know, if you're feeling like stressed out, the best thing you can do is give yourself more love, not less. Okay? So I'm going to go and pray for you, Virgo. I ask that you help me let go of self-blame and forgive myself. Please guide me in releasing any toxic anger or fear towards others. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for allowing me to feel centered and at peace. Amen. All right, Virgo, that's what I've got for you. I think you're awesome. I hope you have a freaking awesome month. I think you're going to, because you are victors. And if I can do anything to help you, if you need a prayer, feel free to hit me up. My email address is down below. And if I don't hear from you, I'll see you again in a couple weeks for the mid-months. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did. I'm going to go ahead and move on now to Capricorn. What's up, Capricorn? How you feeling? Happy June. Just flipping over your cards here, because I deal them together with the other earth signs, but I don't look at them until I get to you. unless something crazy happens. Excuse me. All right. All right, Capricorn. Your story has continued very nicely since the mid-month of May, in the beginning of May, because I'd been getting some really confused energy with you guys for a while. I think y'all been working some shit out, because I see you working and rising to the challenges of your life. And yeah, your archetypal energy for the month, which I love for you. And archetypal energies for me, like how I'm using these, I use the Caroline Miss archetype cards to give us sort of like an overall feel for what the context of the month might be, and like the light and shadow sides of it, because it's sort of like the rhythm to the song of your month. And there's high and low points. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the card. You got Guide. That's a pretty awesome card right there. I like it for you, Capricorn. On the light side, it says, represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. On the shadow side, places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. This is definitely quite an evolution, because I remember beginning of last month in May. Actually, I'm cutting this in May. It's the 24th right now, but this reading is actually for the energies that will be present for the month of June. But at the beginning of May, you got the beggar, and then you got the prostitute for the mid-month archetype, and now you're the guide. And those other two energies, as we were seeing them, beginning of the month, it was kind of like being a little confused about your own sense of value within yourself and like what resources you actually had available. And then as that energy evolved, it kind of got to this like evaluation place, I think, where a lot of you might have been feeling like cheapened somehow by what was happening in your life and how you were monetizing your own skills. And now it's like coming to a greater point of awareness as the guide here. Capricorn, good job. Representing the nature of the divine in life and yourself. Shadow, still evoking from maybe like that beggar to prostitute energy, placing financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight, which, that was kind of like, I think, what you were coming out of last month, and even the tail end of right now when I'm cutting this, figuring out where you wanted to make those adjustments so that you felt like it's more in line with how you represent yourself to yourself. And I think this is a very good indication that y'all have been doing some freaking healing. Way to go. I want to keep this in mind here this month. I'm going to look for what the book has to say about this for you. Guide. Okay. We got some keywords here, Capricorn, for guide. Guru, sage, crone, wise woman, spiritual master, evangelist, and preacher. And we've got 4 bullet points here. The first one says, teacher of religious beliefs and practices as well as the spiritual principle of seeing the divine in every aspect of life. Second bullet point. You don't have to be a professional preacher or guru to have this archetype. Third one says, crone, wise woman, and sage represent the ripening of insight and acceptance of what is. And the last one says, shadow guide manifest, and televangelists, gurus, and priests who place financial gain and sexual gratification over imparting spiritual insight. And there's a little bit of an action advice here. It says, look for a continuing pattern of guiding others based on your own spiritual insights. Great information, right? Like, I mean, I've got some Capricorns in my life. I actually have some pretty strong Capricorn placement myself, so I've been following this a lot. Some of my personal clients are heavily Capricorn influenced, and just what I know of some of what you've been overcoming over, I think a lot of you, it's more like a 7 to 9 year cycle that I've been seeing really heavily. I'm getting 8 in this reading here a lot, but I know some of you have been in sort of a long period of gestation. What you've been working through, Capricorn, has been pretty major, to the extent that I think some of you could probably write really helpful books, like as a guide for whatever it is that you've learned over this period of time. And I just want to be somebody that encourages you to, even if you weren't ready to share it with the world, find a way to process that, for yourself. Write it down, even if it's just a personal journal. But I think you might find some value in possibly looking at monetizing that in some high-minded way, not just to, just to make money like some of those televangelists, like, I'm not even going to use an adjective, some of those people, but in a sense of like what I see this individual doing here, tapping into their spirit animal, that wise owl here, and perhaps you see that light there, at least letting it continue to guide your path. And so, analyze yourself, what you've learned, and maybe consider sharing that with the world. Maybe you are. Maybe that's what you're doing now, because in your physical material world, using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I pulled a really awesome card for you guys. This is, 8 of Pentacles energy. Pentacles can definitely be you, Capricorn. Pentacles usually show up, I'm going to generalize, as someone sun, moon, rising, that is going to be an earth sign. Typically, it's going to be your Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus variety individual. And this person's been working so hard, making strides in what they do, that, it's like they might forget to look up sometimes and even stop to eat and take care of themselves a bit. And, that can be a good thing, but it can also be problematic at times. So, make sure if this is you, that could be someone else in your arena too. Maybe you have a partner that's just working really hard right now, or somebody influential in your life, and that could be a they, a she, a he, whoever. But I think it might be you there applying yourself in some really awesome way, because you've learned how to guide yourself out of some fucking bullshit. And it might be on your mind a lot right now this month too, because I'm using the John Holland's Psychic Tarot Oracle deck for the mental sector help. I was reading and we pulled a 5. Fives are usually kind of challenging energy, obstacles and challenges. And if we were looking into this deck, Rider-Waite-Smith, this would be your 5 of Wands energy, which could be somebody on your mind too. If it's a person that's kind of bringing this energy into your world, they might demonstrate or exhibit characteristics from somebody that typically might be represented as a fire sign person, which would generally be a sun, moon, rising person, or someone heavily influenced with those traits or characteristics of, say, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And they can be a shitstorm to deal with sometimes. You know, that's kind of shitstorm energy. But usually it's like some petty bullshit, some fucking nonsense, hassles, stuff like that. You know, but this is what's on your mind right now. So while you're working, it's like you're kind of thinking a lot about this, or kind of having to deal with some challenging information. And yeah, I just keep feeling like you should write it down. You just keep hearing that for somebody. I don't know, maybe one of y'all is writing a book. And if you aren't, maybe you should. It's definitely a very valid way to process things. And honestly, I mean, just seeing this card here, this craftsman card next to that, and knowing what you've pulled yourself out of and what you've been working on there, Capricorn, I think you can put those obstacles and challenges to work for you. And I think you have been too. We've been actually seeing for a while that something interesting might be coming in, romantically speaking. I'm going to go ahead and jump into your... actually, before I do that, I should read to you what the challenges and obstacles card said. I meant to do that. Sorry, got a little ADD here, guys. I might get pulled sometimes with another story or idea, and I try to stay focused. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm just going to read you what this card said in the book that came with it. Obstacles and challenges. Here we go. Where are we? Here we go. This card represents the obstacles, power struggles, and challenges that you must face in order to overcome them. This could be a difficult period to get through, but it's not impossible if you open your mind and see a bigger picture of how something went wrong. Don't get caught up in it. Just pause and stand back for clarity. Observe where adjustments are required, or which decisions may need to be changed to enable you to move forward in a positive direction. Life is literally all about learning. Don't play the victim. Take the knowledge you've gained from this experience so that you can apply it to similar situations in the future. This card often comes forth when competition is around you, whether it's in your personal or business life. This is an excellent time to think creatively and ask yourself, how can I make myself shine above all the rest? Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Got a good indication on that one. Put it to work. I think y'all might be doing that already. You're real smart. You got mad smarts there, Capricorn. You got work ethic too, so go for it. But if you're working really hard right now, you know, make sure you're taking time to decompress. Okay? Put that in your prayer. And also to kind of ground yourself. Okay? So do some things that are going to just keep you really grounded right now, because there's a good opportunity here to apply everything that you've worked so hard to do and learn and be as who you are. And I think this is awesome news, because the universe sometimes has a way of rewarding us. And sometimes the reward comes a little weird. So let me just disclaimer before I get into this Romance Angel Oracle card here that soulmates bring unique challenges and occasionally obstacles too. And you seem to have called in a soulmate here, Capricorn. It wouldn't be any fun unless you did know, would it? So these things usually show up when, well, you know, I can't say usually, but people are often surprised when a soulmate, a true soulmate, shows up. The card actually says your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations will help bring you together, and perhaps it already has. But as you have been uncovering your high mind, releasing yourself from whatever that bullshit was you were trying to get away from all last month, at least, like a bat out of hell perhaps, you may have called in your soulmate. And let me read what that card says. funny that happened right now too. I got my window open because it's freaking gorgeous here in Denver. When I was talking about you actually killing yourself from some bullshit, there was literally somebody peeling out down the street. Hilarious. Okay, here's what the card says, or the book. It says, you, like everyone, have soulmates. These are people with whom you shared time in heaven and in other lives. You made a soul agreement to meet in this lifetime for the purpose of mutual spiritual growth. You have many such agreements with various people who are all your soul mates. They include friends, family members, co-workers, and romantic partners. This card guides you to actively call your romantic soulmate into your life. You can do so through prayer, affirmations, and visualizations. It also means working on yourself so that you epitomize the qualities you're seeking in a partner. For instance, if you desire a significant other who's got a great sense of humor, develop this within yourself. Like attracts like, which is part of calling your soulmate. So, keep it in mind, especially if you're feeling some feisty, combative bullshit kind of energy around you, that wherever you allow your energy to go, that is the magnet that's drawing it back towards you, Capricorn. And keep that in mind, because soulmate is in the periphery, and it's up to you which one you want to call in. Do you want to call in the dark one that represents all the shit you left behind? Or do you want to call in the one that, it's okay if you fall back. You got somebody there that's got your back. They got some big ass wings. They love you, and they're going to be there. So keep it in mind. And there is some very good advice from Archangel Michael for you this month, especially if there's a lot of things that are changing. And the advice is to shield yourself, Capricorn. Shield yourself. So we're going to say a special prayer here. And here we go. This is for you, Capricorn. Archangel Michael, I ask you to protect me, my loved ones, my vehicle, my home with your powerful shield. Surround us in your purple light, which allows only pure love to penetrate. Please stay with me day and night and keep my loved ones safe. Amen. All right, Capricorn, that's what I got for you. If you would like someone to pray for you, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is below. And please like, share, subscribe if you did. And I will see you again in a couple weeks. God bless you. All right, we're going to go ahead and finish up with Taurus. What's shaking, Taurus? How you feeling? How is your solar return? Hopefully your year is off to an amazing start. And I actually have several Taurian people in my life that are awesome, and most of them are freaking excited right now because they got a lot of good shit going on. So hopefully you're one of those Taurians too. I'm going to flip over your cards. Okay. All right, Taurus. Got a lot going on here. Feeling like a lot of possible healing happening here. It's been a slow thing, actually. Go ahead and jump into your overall archetypal energy for the month. This is usually the theme, if you will, sometimes the challenge kind of energy, because it's sort of like the tint. Like if you put your glasses on, some sunglasses, and they had maybe a yellow tint, that's going to change how you see everything. And that's why I like these archetype cards, because they kind of give us like light and shadow attributes of whatever that energy might be like, so that as we're living life, we can analyze things a little bit before we make hasty moves, which I think you guys are pretty good at for the most part anyway. Taurus is pretty stable. But overall energy for the month, posing as your oftentimes challenge, you have the card of the beggar. Capricorn was going through this last month, And I usually find this to be somewhat of a little bit of a confusing energy for people. It's like they're coming out of confusion. Look at this person here. It could be they, she, he. I'm not really sure who that is. That might be you, somebody you know. But they're kind of like bewildered, right? Covering their face. Here's what the card says. Light attributes. Confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. Awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Shadow attributes. Dependence on others to the exclusion of comfort. This card always just reminds me of somebody that's really confused. They look like they're outside. It looks like it's snowing or there's like some shit falling down on them. They're dressed pretty warm. They've got a warm drink in their lap that they have spilled. They're not holding it, and they're covering their face. And there's like all this like mechanical shit or something. I don't really know what those are. They look like tools being hurled at this person, and it's like they don't want to look. They're like, nah, I'm not gonna look, nah, and I'm going to read to you what the book says. Beggar. They give us a couple of buzzwords. Homeless person, indigent. There's 4 bullet points. First one says, no need to be starving for food to be considered a beggar. Second one says, may beg for attention, love, authority, and material objects. The third one says, represents a symbolic test that compels you to confront self-empowerment. The fourth one says, shadow beggar manifests as chronic dependence, lack of belief in your own abilities. And there's a piece of advice. It says, look for a lifelong pattern of learning about the nature of generosity, compassion, and self-esteem. Pretty interesting for self-evaluation, perhaps. But you are on new energy, Taurus. It's a new year for you. You've just gotten started. And I believe this card is making a suggestion to you that you take a fresh look at yourself and what is around you that you might not be paying attention to for some reason or another. Maybe unbeknownst to you. Maybe you don't realize that you haven't taken the time to look at these things. So, it's hard to know what you just start noticing. So hopefully, you're thinking about that. Because what this card's saying here is that you've got a lot of shit that you're not even using. This is like under-recognized, underutilized potential. And I think I probably hammered the quote all wrong, but I said it last month, I believe, for Capricorn when they pulled this, and it was something, it's an Albert Einstein quote, and it goes something to the effect of, to know and not do is like not knowing. And so it's like, if you've got a bunch of talent and skills, but you're not using them, what's the fucking point, right? And you might actually have physical resources that maybe you're not even realizing could be put to work for you too. So pay attention to that, especially if it's something that's going to improve your life, make you feel better, give you some moxie about who you are, what you represent in and of yourself, Taurus, because you guys kick ass. So what's being underutilized here? I don't know. I think you're going to figure it out, though, because in your physical material world, it's almost like you just, took those hands off your eyes and decided to grab one of whatever those freaking things are out of the sky, and you're like, I'm taking it. What am I going to do with it? And You're making some plans here, maybe. You know, anytime I see these Pentacles cards, I tend to think it might be, especially if it's an actual person card. This is a court card here, showing up in your physical material world. This, to me, is a person. And I think it might be you, because this is earth energy. And so usually somebody, you know, cat shows up like that. They might have a sun, moon, or a rising sign that's an earth sign. So somebody like you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Slow moving, patient, planning energy, earthy, grounded. These guys, the knights, out of all the court cards, these are the ones that take action. They go and do shit. This is the only one of them whose horse doesn't even look like it's moving. So maybe you're ready to hop off the horse and plant one of these seeds somewhere. You know, maybe you're planning an investment or something. Something. It's in your hand. And if it's not in your hand, it's close enough to be in your hand. If it's not in your hand yet, open up your eyes, perhaps, and see what you can grab. Because there's something there that I think you want to put to work for you. And I'm getting a lot of bioenergetic feedback right now for some physical work we can do. I'm going to put it in prayer as a calibration. But if you're interested in chakra healing, you might look this month into doing some solar plexus work. Getting a really strong sense of solar plexus, which is like, you know, your chest here. You've got your sternal region, this area where like your xiphoid processes. This area is your sternal region, and that is your third chakra. Okay, and that third chakra is it's like this golden color, like the color of the sun. And this is your light. This is your I am presence. This is your healthy projection of ego into the world. And if you're feeling like a beggar, you gotta love yourself a little bit more right now, Capricorn. Or Taurus, so sorry. I called you Capricorn again. Taurus. This is all for Taurus. Whatever it is that's making you feel that way, you know, I'm not going to negate that it has some power that's making you feel like that. What I'm suggesting is that you enrich yourself in ways that are going to supplement that feeling, because that's really about how you experience yourself in life. And that's the trigger between recognizing your gifts and what's there for you and feeling like unworthy or like you lack in some way, which might just be artificial. So there's a lot of bioenergetic feedback I'm getting from Taurus right now to heal in this region. And look up maybe light therapy, sound therapy, chakra healing. You can even Google it or look it up on YouTube and just focus on that yellow color too. That's the color you want to be focusing on. It's just going to help you guide yourself from a more balanced place as you're evaluating what your own worth is and what you're doing. And I think that's a great idea because in your mind, you know, you pulled a really awesome card, Foundation and Achievement. And in the John Holland Psychic Tarot deck, This is their representation of what is generally the Four of Wands and the Rider-Waite-Smith. So sometimes I see that card for like marriage, celebration, happy family life. It's definitely a creative, passionate, loving, stable type of energy. And you see there's like some family stuff going on here in this picture. And, that's what's on your mind right now, Taurus. So maybe you're trying to figure out a situation, and it might involve, money, where, investments, or, the stability and security of your family that has got you feeling like you've got to make a pretty important decision. Maybe that's why you're taking your time with it instead of just going reckless and taking off on that horse, You're trying to figure out what the right thing is to do. And wands can be a challenging energy for that sometimes because it's, it's a creative, passionate, fiery energy. It's the energy that babies are conceived under. And so it's like, it might be a little bit at somewhat of an odds of, this kind of energy, which is slow, stable, and maybe sometimes even a little bit inert. So I'm just still getting a lot with the solar plexus healing there. And the healthy sense of self. I'm going to read to you what the book says. Let's see here. Okay. Here we go. Foundation and achievements. This card confirms that what you've been building is now firmly established with a strong and solid foundation. You deserve this. And it's time for you to harvest the rewards for your efforts. What you've sowed, you can now reap. Be open to receive as you've worked hard and given so much. Allow the universe to give a little back to you. For there has to be an even exchange of giving and receiving in order to prime the pump of gratitude and reinforce the law of attraction. Using the more traditional meaning in tarot, this card represents a period for celebration, peace, and prosperity. It may also imply a marriage or the buying of land or a new home. As you enjoy this time of relaxation that you so deserve, know that nothing remains stagnant, and the winds of change are always at your door. That's pretty awesome. So that's what's going on in your mind right now, while this archetype of beggar is sort of circulating in the wind. And again, healthy sense of ego. As you're taking the time to decide how and where you're investing yourself in these efforts and the things that you've worked hard for, and realize that there are perhaps underutilized assets and resources available to you for that family security or whatever situation you're working on. And, try to keep that in mind while you're going forward, because here in your Romance Angels Oracle card, which I've pulled for romantic and personal life, it's not always that romantic, but this one here also speaking to family, healing family issues. It says your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. So maybe you're getting out of a situation with your family. It's possible. Or maybe you're just getting ready to take finally a step, leaving the nest, or something that's really been like the epic structure in your life, and it's on your mind, and you're like, I gotta take a step, but I don't want to be putting myself in some shitty situation where now I'm not going to have the resources I'm used to having, or can I afford this? And maybe looking at things a little bit pessimistically is possible, but this card is implying that it has something to do with your family and that things are actually improving here for you, Taurus, whether or not you see it. And even if it's like an enduring situation, like, I don't know if you can see through the glare there, but there's a couple kids with a parent there. And, pick characters that make sense in your life. They don't have to be male, female, gender, or anything, but apply it to your own sensibilities. And you see there's an angel back there, unbeknownst to the trio. They don't see that angel, perhaps. But there's an angel there. So, it's like a protected situation, is what this is saying. Things have to get better. So let's see what the card says in the book. Healing family issues. The answers to your prayers about your love life are based in your feelings about your mother and father. The romance angels see that you benefit from releasing old anger toward one or both of them. That's because your feelings about your parents influence your choice of romantic partner and the way in which you deal with relationships. You can ask the angels to help you put forgiveness into action. To forgive someone that doesn't mean that you're endorsing his or her behavior. The angels will tell you rather that doing so is a form of deep emotional detoxification. It means I'm no longer willing to carry toxic energy within my mind and body. When you find inner peace with your parents, you'll no longer need to attract unhealthy relationship patterns and partners as a way of healing family emotional wounds. All of your relationships, especially the one you have with yourself, will benefit. Peace. I love that for you. I love it. I think it's great. Keep it in mind. It's going to help you leave this barren land of feeling like something's broken or missing that actually is always going to be there. It's always there. It's always there with you. You are the light, and you are abundant. And as you forgive your parents for whatever it was that maybe they were not so well equipped to deal with in a way that didn't traumatize you while they were getting through a situation, you're going to feel some relief. It's going to give you some clarity and a renewed sense of who you are, your I am presence, how you're putting yourself forward in the world, so that when you take that step towards the foundation and achievements that pertain to you and the plans and desires of your heart, you will feel empowered and realize that you are no beggar, and you will feel your own spiritual grounded self in all of this. You will. And Archangel Michael is recommending that you just tap into your innocence. Maybe you've been feeling like the child that had to beg for love or attention, and you learned how to quantify that in other experiences in life. Maybe you stuffed that hole, that void with something that made you feel good. Maybe it was money, material things, food, booze, some kind of something that gave you a quick kick, something that made you forget that a part of your innocence might have felt like it was taken from you. You've been trying to get it back and begging for it in different ways. Archangel Michael says tap into your innocence. I believe in healing for you this month, Taurus. We're going to pray for you now. Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see that all of your qualities of pure love and light are reflected within me and all others. Help me embrace my God-given innocence so that I may be at peace. Amen. That's for you, Taurus. I think it's going to be a good month. I think it's going to be a great year. And if I can help with anything, feel free to hit me up. My email is below. I would love to pray for you if you would like that. And if I don't hear from you, check back again in a couple weeks. Subscribe. I'll be back with the mid-monthly readings. And thumbs up if you liked it. So God bless you all, and I'll talk to you soon.